Okay, hello. We hope you are all refreshed after your pizza. I'm Cherie Shed,
Herbert. I'm Andrew.
yes, and we are very excited to share with you our app called JustDecide. Uh, we had this little YouTube video for you. We just slacked it out if you want to look at it. It's little piece from the notebook where they can't decide what they're gonna do. But yeah, the video will not work and there's no sound, so surprise to you. So anyway, yeah, right. So what this is about is basically people hate making decisions, especially group-based decisions, planning. Several of you have had apps like that too. And so this is a planning type of app. And so we basically use a really cool chat room feature and also Google Maps to help decide where to go in Austin. And so everyone can decide and agree. So this is a screenshot of how the app will look, and it's also condensed down to a mobile version. So here's a really cool chat room that we're really proud of, and it also condenses down to just that little box when it's in a smaller device. And so yeah, users will log in, and they can post comments in here, and then here there's going to be two buttons that they can click that are two places in Austin, and we'll vote on which place to go. And so the Google Maps will actually show the user where they're at, and then it'll also show where those two places are at on the map as well. So that's kind of the general styling of the app, and we're just so proud of that chat room. It's really cool. The technologies that we used, so Google Maps API, of course. Also, we used a weather API to tell whatever the current weather is in Austin at the time. Bootstrap, that assisted with our chat room tremendously, and also Firebase as well. So I'm going to transition to Herbert.
Yeah.
Code.
So as Cher was saying, we kind of decided to use kind of like a user implementation, so you could actually, actually cast your vote and actually comment on the things that you were actually seeing. So I was kind of in charge on kind of making the chat and using the Google APIs and then making the buttons like reactable based on the users. So I was doing a lot of the back end stuff. The first thing I did was kind of like get a user to kind of input themselves, like name who they are. And at first I was trying to use FireChat to use the chat feature and kind of authenticate, but I was having a lot of trouble with that. So I just kind of decided just to kind of go from scratch and just kind of do it all on my own. So it's a little bit rough, but it works. So I'm pretty proud of that. And we'll kind of play with it later as we kind of go on. But again, the user just kind of puts in their input, who they are, and then it'll populate the Firebase database with the user, and then the user is able to add comments and cast their votes at will. So the other thing I did was kind of work on the Google Maps API, as some of y'all kind of did as well. It was a little bit difficult kind of getting location at first, but I eventually was able to actually get the location. However, for this specific app, I just kind of did two static locations because since it's a voting kind of app, I didn't want it to kind of refresh as users were kind of changing or casting their votes, that they were able to actually change the locations themselves. So I just kind of went with two static, and in the future, probably implement something where like it refreshes every day or something like that, and then two different locations kind of show up. So yeah, like Cher was saying, the locations themselves actually show up on the map, and I'll pass it to Andrew so he can kind of talk a little bit more about weather.
Thank you very much. All right, so originally we tried to use the Open Weather Map API. We had some trouble with it, so we ended up going with the Wonderground Weather API, which we got working. We thought weather was an important feature to have on our site because you don't want to go to the park if it's raining outside. It's just a quick little tip to let people know like what's going on outside. And I guess the idea of the app is to really limit the amount of choices that the user has. So we've curated content of, I think we have like 10 locations right now, of options that people can vote on. And it's really a way to just get everyone to come to a decision in real time as quickly as possible. And this is another JavaScript file we use to actually place in our images. So Herbert has them all stored on Firebase, and we can dynamically pop them in whenever we want to randomize and get different images each time. And I think with that, we can start a demo.
Yeah. So Andrew's gonna Slack out to y'all the actual like Heroku app, so you guys can actually cast a vote with us as we kind of like demo this app here. Let's see, where are we at? So like mentioned, here's the app. And the first thing that's going to happen is going to ask you, it's going to ask you who you are. And it's based on like first name and last name. So mine's Herbert.
My Wi-Fi isn't working right now.
Gutierrez. I submit it. So now we're in the actual app. And as you can see, you can kind of see the map and it shows you your location. It kind of has the chat right there, which again, I felt like was a pain in the butt to kind of make, but I'm really happy about it. And hopefully, it kind of works out here. The weather is kind of displaying right here. And then here we have our 2 clickable buttons. So it'll show you like the location. So again, if you kind of go on the map, I think you hover over, it'll show you what it is. Why is it not showing? There it is. And you can actually move on the map. You can also see the 2 different locations right there. So I haven't casted my vote yet, so I'm going to choose to go to Barton Springs Pool because it looks nice outside. So vote received. So I already participated. Oh, cool. Somebody already participating as well. So now that I casted my vote, I've committed. I can't go back. I made my choice. That's kind of like the big general idea of our app. It's just like once you make your choice, just stick with it. Like let's just make plans. Let's just go do something. So now that I voted, I can't vote again. I already made my vote, but as y'all can see, y'all already chatting. So hello, kind of misspelled it. And then send it. The one thing I couldn't get in the chat kind of working was the fact that I wanted to actually, show like any kind of group chat was to start at the bottom when you posted a message. However, it kind of starts at the top, so I'm assuming that would get kind of annoying if you actually like work through it and actually, have to constantly keep scrolling down. So that's one thing I want to implement in the future is just kind of getting that going. Also, when it came to like user authentication, it's based on name. So, if I decide to put in Herbert Gutierrez in all caps versus how I just typed it in earlier, that's going to be a different user. So, you can technically cast 2 votes. So I'm also trying to work on how I want to authenticate my user, so it's actually more unique rather than anybody can keep casting votes. But yeah, that's the big general idea of our app. I'll let Andrew kind of talk about design a little bit.
Yeah, so a big part of this app is we really want to have as much on the screen as possible. So we tried to optimize our layout to maximize the above fold content so the user can interact with as many features of the application at one time on one screen. So if you resize your browser, the chat feature will respond and it'll just basically pop into a button that you can click and it will expand and you can scroll through all the comments. So we thought that was pretty cool. And because especially with voting apps like this, you want everything to be very concise, simple, modern, and easy to use. And I feel like we really accomplished that with this layout. And if you have anything else you want to say? Yeah, if you can show them how it works.
I guess one thing, one challenge that I had for sure was the second API that we wanted to use initially was like to generate a random image for the places. 2 minutes. And all of us had a lot of trouble with that, and that was something that I was trying to work on personally. But so we actually decided to go with the weather API that became our second API. But that was a big challenge for us for sure. So we're...
Good job to Bernie Sanders. Shout out.
So if you guys have any questions, comments, open the floor.
Yeah.
Is it the data once, like, is all the chats?
Yeah, so the way I structured, actually a good question. The way I structured the Firebase was actually just to have 3 different nodes. It was users, I believe it was maps, so like the actual locations, all these being objects, and then chat itself. Each comment is an actual object, so each time you post, the comment will save onto that Firebase. Another feature I actually wanted to do was, after the comments have been there maybe for like 3 hours, delete those comments and then just kind of keep the ones that are relevant, I think. So yeah. Any other questions?
Are there directions to the can I run through directions, see whatever's happening or whatever we voted on going to?
No, it just kind of displays the vote. Kind of like at the bottom, it says, like 3 people have voted for this, and then.
You mean
map,
directions
like
to
on
the
the
place?
Google map.
Oh no directions to the maps. Yeah, another good idea. The map itself is very simple. Just kind of displays the user's location. It's actually just kind of centered around Austin, actually centered around the user. So if you were actually like in Houston or something, you wouldn't be able to see the other 2 pins. That's another thing I kind of want to work on. But yeah, basic concept. So cool. All right. Any other questions? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.